In 2026, the United States will commemorate the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence and the founding of our country. It is an opportunity for reflection on the ideals of the founders of the nation, but also a time to consider the path forward in expanding our realization of those ideals today. America 250 is the national nonpartisan organization charged by Congress to engage every American in celebrating this anniversary. And in Connecticut, our 250 Commission is run by Connecticut Humanities. Today on the Municipal Voice, we are talking with Cyndi Tolosa, Deputy Director of Advancement at Connecticut Humanities, about how our state and our nation are commemorating this milestone. Cyndi, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Matt. Happy to be here.
So first off, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what Connecticut Humanities is and what you do there.
Wonderful. So my name is Cyndi Tolosa. I am the project manager for the America 250 Connecticut Commission and also the Director of Advancement at Connecticut Humanities. So Connecticut Humanities is a statewide arts and culture organization. We are one of the primary grantors for cultural organizations in the state.
Mm-hmm.
An affiliate of the National Endowment for the Humanities. And we really work a lot on convening different organizations statewide to think about important topics going on across Connecticut.
Yeah, so you do that in Connecticut because America 250, there's a national organization. So in other states, it could be handled by different organizations or groups. Not
Definitely.
necessarily the equivalent of what you guys.
In other states, there are definitely the state historical societies or history museums are handling the 250th. In some cases, it's a department of some branch of the government, whether it's a secretary of the state, parks department, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
It really depends on what state we're talking about and who
different
ended
structures.
up most sense.
But in Connecticut, you guys are the official affiliate of the national organization.
Correct. And here it is. So we have the America 250 Connecticut Commission, which was established by Governor Lamont via executive order in July of 2022. Okay. And that executive commission is being administered by Connecticut Humanities. So we collaborate closely with the governor's office on our work, but are the nonprofit fiduciary for the work that's happening.
Very cool. But Connecticut Humanities also does all sorts of other stuff as well, right?
Correct.
This is just one of the things that you guys handle for Connecticut. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. So just looking, I noticed that you have a background in like museums and stuff like that too. That's really cool.
Yeah.
We're at the Mattituck. I love that museum.
It's a great place.
The Button Museum. Woohoo! I've actually been there twice. I'm not kidding. So talking about America 250, talking about Connecticut. So how does this play out in Connecticut? What is America 250 on the practical level? What are towns and communities doing in celebration of America?
Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit first about the commission itself. So the commission has set forward some kind of guiding values and themes to shape the commemoration of the 250th here in Connecticut. So the view has always been that the 250th here will be as inclusive of all Connecticut residents as possible. And so to make sure that is possible, the group has really thought a lot about how we can root the 250th in 1776 and the important history that happened then, but then also connect through the last 250 years of Connecticut history and really work on shaping the next 250 years of Connecticut history. So to do that, we've set forth 4 different themes for the commemoration. Doing history really focused on how we do good history and tell good historical facts, telling inclusive stories, so including stories that might not be what people think about for the 250th and really broadening the narrative. for the common good. So building into that idea of civics, democracy, how the ideals laid forth in the
Hmm.
Declaration of Independence continue to play out today. And
Yeah.
then finally, power of place, focusing on the really significant places here in Connecticut, the unique municipalities, the tribal nations that are here, and how all of like this fabric builds Connecticut as a place.
Yeah.
Uh, so with that, we've been reaching out to municipalities since probably 2003,
Okay.
2023,
Mhm.
to get folks on board. I think we are at right around 150 municipalities who have a local contact who's doing work at the local level.
That's out of 169. That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, we are really proud of that and are actively reaching out to the last few municipalities. I think some of them have people working, we just don't know who
Hmm.
they are.
Yeah.
So we're connecting through different networks that we've been building over the last few years and are really excited to. I'll say at the beginning of March, we did regional gatherings kind of throughout the state,
Hmm.
and heard from some of those municipal committees and some of our affiliate organizations. And there is so much great stuff planned for
Yeah.
2026. It starts right around Patriots Day weekend, which is mid-April, and goes through October, depending on the community. I think some folks were really eager to try to do their 250th celebration around the 4th of July, while
Yeah.
others wanted to avoid the chaos that will be July 4th, 2026.
Yeah. Everybody else will be doing it on the same day, sort of thing, because the
Yeah.
250th is actually of July 4th, 1776. So the Declaration of Independence is the
Yeah.
specific anniversary that we are celebrating. We're separate. We're out of here, England.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so, um, yeah, so we're going to see a huge array of different events from
Hmm.
smaller, more intimate events to on the 4th of July, we anticipate having about 50,000 people in Bushnell Park
Wow.
commemorating Independence Day. So we're really excited for the wide array of activities that's going to be happening.
Hmm.
Um, And so, in addition to these municipal committees, we also have affiliate organizations who have signed on to collaborate with the commission,
Hmm.
use those four themes as kind of the basis of their work. And it is a lot of museums and historical societies, as you
Makes
would expect,
sense. Yeah.
but also other groups, youth groups, some other town committees, commissions, things like that.
Yeah.
uh, some for-profit businesses who are hoping to align their work with the 250th. And so we are co-branding quite a few activities with some of those different organizations,
Mm.
are excited by that. Um, at the national level, because I think you asked a little bit about the national level
Oh yeah,
earlier.
absolutely. Yeah.
Um, the National America 250 Commission is planning an array of tentpole activities. So
Hmm.
they're doing an oral history project in an Airstream trailer that's traveling around the country and are
Okay.
collecting stories of um, important Americans, or oh, I forget their exact,
Significant.
but yeah, and are publishing those. They are also doing America Gives, which is really focused on Americans giving back. And so they're tracking volunteer hours across
Mm.
the nation. And I believe they're hoping for 2.5 million volunteer hours
Yeah.
um, throughout 2026. They also have America's Field Trip, which is an
Okay.
opportunity for students to submit. I believe it's either an artwork or an essay about what America means to them.
Hmm.
Um, we've had two second place winners in Connecticut. We haven't yet had a first place winner.
That's
Uh,
cool.
so students who win are able to participate in a field trip across the country, and they've done things like um, a sleepover at the Museum of Natural
That's
History,
really cool.
going up to the top of the Statue of Liberty, things like that. So really cool opportunities for students that are interested.
If
Um,
someone wanted to learn something about like that and other stuff, I assume there's a website.
yeah, so America250.org. All of
Easy
their
enough.
tentpole initiatives are up there.
And how
Uh,
about the Connecticut website?
So ct250.org is the best place to learn about kind of the planning resources and
Hmm.
the all the work that's gone in behind the scenes. If folks are interested in learning about what they can participate in their communities, we also have our events calendar up at CT Visit, and that's
Okay.
ctvisit.com/CT250. So
A couple
it
different ways for people to get information on whether they want to just check out some of the stuff or even help out with some of the stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we're excited that folks, that the general public can now look up what events are happening and figure out what
Hmm.
they want to do for the 250th. But also those planner resources have been really important to us to develop and share our vision for what the 250th will be here.
You are listening to the Municipal Voice on WNHH 103.5 FM.
Got to be complicated kind of bringing together some of these different groups and also being in Connecticut, where it's a state where, we are one of the original 13. So we have the colonial, we were here around, July 4th, 1776, and there's battle sites and that sort of stuff. But then mixing that with on the, more contemporary end, recognizing the diversity and all the different stories that you're trying to tell, finding that balance has got to be kind of a tough act.
Yeah, I think so. The commission itself has not planned a lot of programs necessarily for the 250th. We're
Hmm.
collaborating with Hartford Bonanza, which is run by First Night Hartford, on the
Okay.
4th of July festivities in Bushnell Park. We're hosting a recommitment ceremony
Hmm.
where we will ask representatives from all 169 municipalities to recommit to the ideals of the Declaration of Independence.
Hmm.
And kind of that is kind of our more formal ceremonial
Hmm.
um, part of the 250th.
But really, you're
Um,
coordinating a lot of stuff that other organizations are doing.
exactly. We're really hoping to promote all of the wonderful stuff that is happening across the state. And
Hmm.
by doing that, we're able to get a huge diversity of programming. I'll say, like, the American Mural Project up in Winstead is
Hmm.
doing some great work around the history of America and labor and how
Yeah.
that ties into the last 250 years.
Yeah.
Um, and then,
That's for people that don't know, up in Winstead, it's a huge, huge indoor mural, right?
yep,
Like I've seen stuff I remember seeing stuff in paper, like it looked like it was like 3 or 4 stories tall, like a massive but indoor still
yep.
thing. Yeah, that's really, really cool. So that's still in process, like there's still being more done with that.
I believe so.
Yeah, okay.
I think they're still continuing to work on it, but don't hold me to that.
But there's definitely activities going on up there associated with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They have a programming space and are inviting folks to attend these programs looking
Hmm.
at what labor means in Connecticut,
Yeah.
and how that ties into the history of our state and the nation.
Is
Um,
that a free event for people?
I believe so.
Hmm.
Um, I will say I do know it's funded by Connecticut Humanities, and I am almost certain that it's a free program. But there's a
People
lot
might want to
happening.
check to make sure.
Remembering
Yeah.
exactly, remembering the details for everything
Because
is a
there's so many
little
things
tough
going on.
sometimes.
So there's a lot of things going on, but you guys have a calendar on your website that could help and people kind of figure out what they could attend or do be a part of.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so there's a huge array from historical societies who are having reenactors to folks doing like community conversations. How do we use this 250th moment to come together and make our community a better place? And
Yeah.
everything in between.
Yeah, I
Um,
know we're even using sort of an America 250 theme for our convention that's going to be in end of October because we're going to have like a debate, hopefully, not hopefully we are with the governor and Channel 8. We're working together on this, so it's like you know debates and then the 250. It's all one big kind of theme that we're looking really forward to.
uh,
Um, So I had an important question for you about the 250th, which is how do you actually say semi-quincentennial?
It is semi-quincentennial. Uh,
Semi-quincentennial.
some people just shorten it to semi-Q, but I like to say 250th.
The kids, the cool ones, say semi-Q.
Yeah, exactly. But to avoid having to explain what that means, 250th is the easiest way to move forward.
Yeah. What's an event you feel like is particularly um, unique to Connecticut and our history of 250?
I think there's a wonderful conference going on this weekend at Yale that is
Hmm.
at the First Nations and the indigenous peoples of America and what the 250th means for them. It
Hmm.
will include a conversation with Ken Burns of
Hmm.
the American Revolution documentary that came out back in November.
Yeah.
Um, there will also be a documentary shared on Saturday that was created, I believe, I can't remember, in partnership with some of the tribal nations here in Connecticut.
Okay.
Um, and it is about the land here and really thinking about the 250th from that. Um,
So specifically from the perspective of the tribal nations of Connecticut.
exactly. And then they have a whole suite of programming on Friday. I think that is a great program that is really focused on Connecticut's story.
Hmm.
Uh, and I think it is a particularly important story here.
Yeah.
Uh, there are also a lot of other folks who are doing um, local history projects. And
Hmm.
of course, I can't think of any of them off the top of my head. But there, a lot of people are thinking about who in their specific community was involved in the Revolutionary War
Hmm.
and what did the war mean for them and how did they shape the community that people live in moving
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
So lots of soldiers and others being, I don't want to say uncovered because people knew who they were, but their stories are being told. And instead of focusing on George Washington
Hmm.
and the founding fathers that were from other parts of the country, lots of people are going back and looking at, well, who from Terryville fought? And
Yeah.
therefore, like, what can we say about them? And where do we see them still today?
Yeah.
Um, so I think it's really important to put that local spin on the 250th
Yeah,
because
like
we
when you
have
realize
so
like how
many.
many towns and stuff even are like Trumbull, wasn't he a general, I think, and like
Um,
where these names around Connecticut that you hear all the time come from, like these were, you know, local heroes.
exactly. And we let Virginia, New York, Massachusetts own the story of the Revolutionary War, but there was
Yeah.
so much important stuff happening here in Connecticut. We were the provision state, so
Hmm.
much of the ammunitions and the food that supplied the troops was coming from
Yeah, I
Connecticut.
imagine that the Eli Whitney Museum's got to have something going on related to that for the 250
I
because
assume so.
Eli Whitney was big doings back then.
Battle of Yorktown was planned here in Connecticut,
Hmm.
so a lot of people are looking at the story of Rochambeau coming through Connecticut and
Yeah,
meeting
he
with
marched through and
yeah,
yeah.
he met George Washington in front of the old state house and then stayed at, I believe it's the Joseph Webb home, which is part of Webb Dean Stevens in Weathersfield.
Mm,
So he stayed there, and that's where they actually planned the Battle of Yorktown and then
yeah,
marched on to New York. So if they hadn't stopped here, who knows how
yeah.
things would have been different.
I'm
So
down in New Haven, and I used to work right on the green. So a couple times when I was working in my office there, I got to see a very local celebration. I don't know if you ever even heard of Powder House Day in New Haven, which was, I believe, when our local hero, who later had some trouble, Benedict Arnold, went and asked the governor or the mayor for the key to the Powder House to like go fight, the British or whatever. Um, and they get out there with their whole outfits on. It's great, but it's not even just a Connecticut one, but specifically a New Haven one, and just the kind of depth of history that our communities have with this stuff is a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're hoping people will learn, like all of these smaller moments that
Yeah,
led to this huge moment for the United States and for the world. I mean, we can't deny that it changed geopolitics across the entire
yeah,
world after that.
absolutely. And so when you were talking about, we had the history part, but also looking at, the less told stories and the diversity. Has, since you started there, has there been a change kind of on your mission, or has it focused your mission to kind of see some of the changes going on at the national level? And you say, you're part of the national humanities. Like, has any funding been cut recently, or have you kind of been doing all right?
So our funding from the National Endowment has been cut.
Mm.
We are currently working to try to get that funding back, but are
Hmm.
really have had to reduce some of our operations because of this. So
Hmm.
it is challenging times for humanities councils across the country, which is disappointing because I do think
Yeah,
humanities councils do such wonderful local work, and that work could be so beneficial to the 250th.
yeah.
Um, we are fortunate that largely the state of Connecticut does support Connecticut
Hmm.
humanities in our work. So we have been fortunate enough to continue doing this work moving forward. But there have been challenges. We lost about
Hmm.
$1 million in funding per year, which is
Yeah,
a amount to overcome. Um,
but not as bad as some other states might have had it.
right. I think we had other sources of funds other than our national endowment funds.
Mm.
Other states, humanities
Don't
councils.
necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are happy to continue to be here. In terms of telling inclusive stories, I think the diversity of Connecticut's people is
Hmm.
at the heart of who we are as a humanities council,
Hmm.
who we are as a state. I think
Yeah.
we all really value the array of people, experiences, so on and so forth around us that bring us all together. And so, because of that, Connecticut Humanities has a uh, inclusion, diversity, equity, and access commitment, and
Hmm.
that's at the heart of our work. I the commitment was in place before I started in 2022. So I can't tell
Yeah.
you when it came into being, but it is really important to us to celebrate the people of Connecticut.
It
It's
is
really
part, it is a
important
part of the
to,
mission.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's hugely important to the members of the commission. So the commission is made up of 24 different individuals who represent
Mm.
many state agencies. We have some members of the public, chaired by Denise Merrill, former Secretary of the State, and
Hmm.
Vice Chair Jason Mancini, the Executive Director at Connecticut Humanities. And so one of the most important things that came out of our first couple of meetings was the need to really represent all of these stories, all of these past experiences, both the good, the bad, the ugly.
Hmm.
Um, but all of that has got us to where we are today. And we need to continue um, working together, working through that to be stronger at the tail end of the 250th.
Yeah. And again, being in Connecticut is sometimes a dichotomy. That same window that I said I watched the Powerhouse Day out of. I also saw one of the first same-sex marriages in the state of Connecticut, and therefore in the country in a lot of ways, take place right on the green there. So it was pretty wild.
You are listening to the Municipal Voice on WNHH 103.5 FM.
Talking about these kind of stories that might not get told otherwise, is there an event going on that sticks out to you as one that's, you wouldn't think, America 250 necessarily? It's not, muskets and the silly hats. It's one of these stories that you say wouldn't get told, but is part of who we are as Connecticut.
Yeah, I'll say two come to mind, and I don't have full details on them. So
Hmm.
I'll start off with that. But, well, one, many municipalities are hosting their 250th celebrations on Juneteenth.
Hmm.
Uh, and tying those two holidays together. So Juneteenth is also the kickoff to civic season, which is run by Made by Us, which is a national organization that is looking at engaging people via social media with history and
Okay.
social studies content.
So
So,
that's another kind of campaign that's adjacent to the America 250, sort of.
yep, it's definitely part of the 250th this year,
Mm.
but they've been doing it for quite a few years already. And
So
so civic
so they have their
does,
own thing, but for this year, their
yeah,
theme is part of the broader. Okay.
exactly. And civic season goes from Juneteenth to July 4th, and they encourage everybody to um, get involved civically in some way, shape, or
Hmm.
form. But so I think a lot of folks are looking at that Juneteenth holiday as a way to um, be more inclusive around the 4th of July and thinking
Hmm.
about um, kind of what those broader stories are. Um, and I'll say New Haven is one of the New Haven Free Public Library is one of the locations that's doing that. And then there's also, we've recently been in conversation with IRIS, which is
Hmm.
the refugee resettlement organization in New Haven. And
Yep.
they are looking at July 3rd for their 250th celebration and are thinking about what the 250th means for immigrants, refugees, and
Now,
the new people here in Connecticut.
yeah, what it has meant, what it means right now is there's a lot of questions to be looked at there.
Yeah. So I think those are two examples, but there are so many more. And I feel bad that I can't recall everything
No, that's okay.
all at once.
Because as we mentioned before, people want to learn about the stuff. They can find listings where.
ctvisit.com/CT250.
Excellent. So is this all you handle for CT Humanities, or is this just one aspect of what you do?
I also work closely with our executive director on just our general fundraising for Connecticut Humanities.
So
So,
is there anything else coming up, not America 250, that you're excited about this year? Any sort of events or
um, I can't answer that. My
oh,
mind is stuck on 250 until July 8th, 2026. And then if we talk again sometime later in July, I'm sure I'll have responses. But
so we'll have to have you back, is what you're saying.
yeah, um, we are we see this as a huge opportunity. I think so much of what we do as an organization is tied into
Hmm.
the 250th. And so our education staff is working on creating content for teachers. Our grant staff is working on making sure that grants are getting out to good 250th
Hmm.
projects and other non 250th projects too.
Yeah.
Um,
The 250 first, right?
and we just fund the best projects, whatever theme they have, but we have a lot of great 250th projects coming through our
Yeah.
grant lines right now. Um, and so, and what I'll say is a lot of exhibitions are opening on July 4th. And
Mm.
so, if nothing else, I'm hopeful that this summer we get to travel around and see some of these great exhibits. I don't know if we'll have time to before the 4th, but certainly
Yeah.
after the 4th, see all the
Yeah,
great work.
and talking about some of those things, I know I was reading some online that one part of the mission is also to bring people into Connecticut,
Mhm.
visitors.
Yeah.
Not just celebrations for ourselves, but also stuff that would be of interest to others. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where our partnership with CT Visit comes into play. We'll be doing some promotions, working with them to really encourage both in-state residents to get out and about to different things going on,
Mhm.
and also out-of-state residents to include Connecticut. The World Cup is going on as they're traveling from Boston to New York to see a game. Stop at
Mhm.
the Mark Twain House, stop at Old Newgate Prison, see some of the things here in Connecticut, spend a night, go to some restaurants.
Mhm.
So that's kind of the hope that we see for taking advantage of the opportunities for tourism this summer.
Well, great. Well, Cyndi, thanks for talking with us today. It's been a lot of fun, and it sounds like it's going to be a fun summer.
Yeah,
A lot
I
of
hope to
events
see you
going
around.
on. We can learn about history. We can just have fun. There's
Yep.
probably just some, good food stuff happening.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and they can check it all out online. So thanks so much for talking with us today. We really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, Matt. Take care.
The Municipal Voice is the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities podcast in collaboration with WNHH LP 103.5 FM. I'm your host, Matt Ford. As always, be sure to give us a like and let us know what you're thinking in the comments. CCM's Municipal Voice podcast continues to present a key forum on important state and local issues. The views expressed do not necessarily reflect the consensus views of CCM or a member of municipal leaders.